This computer. Okay.
This is a referral.
Okay, great. So we're live. We're recording. I think. Hold on. Yep, it's recording. Go for it. Go ahead and get started, Kiki.
We're good. Okay. Hey, so we just want to welcome you guys to the art of self-care with QiGong and Skincare. So to introduce who I am, my name is Kiki Apodaca, and I'm I'm the owner of Ripple InnerQi Holistics. I'm a medical Qigong practitioner and a Qigong for Health instructor. And so Fran and I were talking about how we could combine skincare with Qigong. And so we wanted to actually bring into into this idea of scheduling your skincare, but then also incorporating Qigong within it, which usually with this form, it's going to have to do with the breath. And so, Fran, did you want to give a little intro to yourself?
Sure. I give a little intro to myself. So I'm Fran Ferlazzo with Frantastic Facials. I have been working my business for 19 years. And one of the things that I'm really great at is connecting people. And so I started these partner education series as a way to connect people in the community to other local businesses and as a way to just educate, because my first passion in Mary Kay is actually educating about how to take care of your skin. And I think that it's great because Kiki and I are actually going to do that together. So you're going to learn about Qigong and when to implement a skincare routine as part of your self-care when you're doing this at home twice a day. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what you got to go.
Yeah, cool. Boom, let's go. Okay, cool. So just a little background about myself. So credential wise, so I got my associates as a registered RN at Pima. Go Pima, it's a junior college. And then I started in energetic practices, where it's the Japanese energetic modality, which is called Reiki. And then Qigong came into my field 3 times. And if you want to hear more about that, we can do a one-to-one at some point. And so I'm 4 years into my medical Qigong school. And so I'm actually in the 5th year, where it's the medical Qigong doctorate. And so I'm doing that. I'm also TAing for my medical Qigong instructor as well. And I got all my education at the Red Thread Institute, which is there in Colorado. It's the Red Thread International Qigong Institute online for anybody that's interested. I will have the QR code at the end. And so Ripple InnerQi, that's the name of my company. And so the idea of Ripple InnerQi, the name, my husband helped me come up with the name, is that the ripple, because of that internal healing, which is the guide, or which is the idea with my company that you create within, ripples out into your sphere of influence. And then InnerQi is a play off of the word energy, but also the InnerQi with the internal healing that we do. And then with the logo, you guys want to take a peek back there, it looks like a rippling of water, but then it also can correlate to like almost like a thumbprint. And so then that also has to do with that change that we do with it, that we go with that journey within ourselves. And so Qigong, so this is the yin and yang sign. And so as we say in America, yin and yang. And so then there's this balance that we have within our body. And so being a human, they end up becoming off balance. And so the yin and yang shows the ideas of where the black is yin, and then the yang is the white, but then within the yang, there's the yin, and then there's also the yang within, there's the yin within the yang, and there's yang within the yin. And so then going again back to that balance, we actually can have imbalances within our body, and then I'll go more into that with the 5 elements theory as well. But the idea is that with yin, so that can be considered earth, the wind, water, and soil. And then yang can be the heaven, the sun, and moon, and the stars. And
could you turn that around, your laptop around, or
sure.
So that this way they can see what you're talking about too? There you go.
Yeah, thank you. And so then there's talking about the balance and the imbalance. And so then with earth energy, that's the yin, and then yang is the heavens. And so then there's also, they're relational to each other. When day turns into night, there's that dusk that happens, and so then the day then becomes night eventually. And so they again are relational to each other. And then also, so I'll give some more examples. So material, that is yin. Immaterial is yang. So then you can think of things like an ice cube. An ice cube would be considered, since it's a structure, yin, and then as it melts into water and then it can be boiled into steam, that's more yang. And so I'm gonna play a little game. So then if we're talking about yin and yang, what is below? Is it yin or is it yang?
Below is in like the earth?
It could be. Yeah, cool. And then above would be yang. Cool. And then so cold.
Yeah.
Okay, and then heat.
Yeah.
Cool. Because then heat rises. Yep. And then also, so slow. No? Yeah, no, yin. And then rapid. Yang. And so that goes into quiescence, like meditation. That would be a yin kind of thing. And then movement, like going to yoga class or active movement is yang. So yeah, so then just kind of, and then also, okay, quiet. What is that?
Yeah.
There you go. And then restless.
Yang.
There we go. The yang. So we're gonna move on. So then Qigong and skin health care, or Qigong and skin health from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective. And so then skin is just not like some kind of surface that we do cosmetic things to. It's reflective of health. And so that's reflective of health with the qi in the body, the blood, and also how well the organs all work together. And so it's this barrier that we have to the environment. So then when the qi and blood circulate smoothly, the skin appears radiant, it appears healthy, and and then there's that vibrancy to it. And so then in Chinese medicine, beauty comes from balancing the inside of the body, and so that's where it comes into all the elements that we have within. Yes, absolutely. And so then talking about energetic anatomy. And so there's the chakras. Are you familiar with the chakras? I've heard chakra systems. And so then there's that part of our energetic anatomy, but there's also these places called Dantians. So there's the upper, which is the intuitive center. If you believe in such things, clairvoyance, clairsentience, the psychic abilities, but you don't have to believe in anything that I'm saying. But I mean, so then it's also the overthinking center. It's that place where that gerbil just spins. And so then there's the middle Dantian, which is the empathic center. The way that we can feel emotions from other people. We can feel when we go to big crowds, you get a good feel. If you get a good feel of how you feel when you're by yourself, and then you go out to larger crowds, and then you can kind of see what's happening, because, and especially if you live with somebody, like with your wife, or like with your roommates and things like that, or anybody that you live with, you get a good idea of what their emotional state might be when they don't have to say a word.
Kind of radiate.
Yep, exactly. And so then also it's also the emotionally reactive center. And so then being triggered really easily. Like when you're driving and somebody just like cuts you off, what is your response? Just like, I get really, really mad, really, 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 really upset. So it's that emotional reactivity. And then I like to call this space down here, the lower dantian, which is in the pelvis or in the belly, is the non-existent center or the kinesthetic center, because we're always in fight or flight. We're always go, 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 go. Do we have that space where we feel like we're grounded? And so this is the lower dantian, and this is where we're going to do some breathing here in a little bit. So little bit being now. And so the pelvis, and we can imagine there's a sphere that is here in the belly, and it expands in all 6 directions. So it expands to the front, to the back, to the sides, and then if these 4 directions are employed, and it expands up and down.
I've had to breathe like this for weightlifting.
Oh, cool.
For bracing with the belt.
Yeah.
And you breathe in your abdomen.
Very cool. Well, so then you're already there. And so the idea is if you breathe in this space, it gets you out of the overthinking center. And then it gets you, just say, so we're talking about qi. I'm going to touch on qi and qigong. So you break it down in 2 words. Qi is the vital substance that animates everything. Gong is the acquired skill obtained through work. So you put them together. Qigong is the acquired skill of cultivating qi within the body. And so emotions are qi. This is qi. The air that we breathe is qi. Everything in this world, we're all interconnected to qi. And so the whole idea is like, okay, just say I'm having an anxiety attack. And then you're like, Kiki, take a deep breath. And I'm like, okay, well, guess what? I'm breathing into this space because anxiety is living here. It's actually specific to the heart, but it's still in this space. And then I'm breathing. Well, guess what's going to happen if I'm breathing in air is, what is that again?
Yeah.
Well, and so it's also, we're interconnected by qi. And what are emotions?
Qi.
So then it's like it's trying to like put a fire out with kerosene. So I'm breathing here. And so then this can go any of 2 ways. It's going to go so bad that I'm going to need medical attention, maybe good to call 911, somebody help me, or it's going to get to the point where I get so exhausted and then I'm just going to actually finally calm down on myself. But if there's something that's happening, and so if I were actually like I was having an anxiety attack, let's go with that scenario again, and I know to breathe here in this space, then I'm actually grounding myself. And so then it's not feeding anything that's happening in the overthinking center, because I'm thinking about my anxiety attack so much because I'm panicking, and then all that anxiety that's there as well. And so then it's a matter of like, okay, let's shift it. I'm not going to feed what's going on here or here. I'm going to breathe here. And so then, but before breathing, there's some precautions and contraindications. Early pregnancy, no, you don't breathe down here. Because you breathe here, it's very descending when it's effective. And so then you have early pregnancy and you're putting all this pressure down here, you're bringing chi and blood to this area. Well, guess what? You could have a potentially early birth that you don't want to have. And so, no, and I don't know how to give Lamaze teaching, so I'm not going to even touch that. But this, it's very descending, and then low blood pressure. There's low blood pressure in the room.
Yeah, I
Anybody?
need low blood pressure. High blood pressure?
Okay, all right.
Mine is normal.
Okay, all right. And so then the thing is that it can vasodilate by the certain kind of breathing that you do. And I love seeing yawns when we breathe because that's meaning that we're not in the fight or flight anymore in my Qigong class, and it means that we're settling down in that rest and digest. So then, you guys can stay seated if you want to stand, because there's rules of posture to this. And so if you want to stand with me, if anybody wants. Right, sweet.
Okay, just scooch out just a little bit so that the people can see.
All right, so I'm gonna stand right here, so then
There you go.
that's also for anybody that's out there. If there's any low blood pressure out in the ethers, I would recommend breathing in this way, sitting down, because it's beware of any lightheadedness. And so then we'll have our feet flat, and then we'll lock our legs and put a slight break in our knees. And then with our tailbone, we're gonna have our tailbone down like we're sitting on an imaginary stool, because that opens this area here. And so then as we breathe, we'll have our hands here in front of our belly button. And as we inhale, we're imagining there's that sphere in our belly and it's expanding in all 6 directions. And then exhale. And then breathing in, the hands opening, allowing that ball to expand. And then exhale. Allowing the shoulders to relax. And if the lungs fill first, because that's what they're designed to do, let the lungs fill and then let the belly fill afterwards. Exhale. And breathing again. Breathing in that sphere and imagine it's filling with that yellow golden earth energy. And then exhale. And then breathing again, inhaling. And then exhale. And we'll do a couple more breaths. Breathing in. And then exhale, and we'll do one more. Inhaling. And then exhale. And then we'll hand over hand. Since we open the lower Dantian, we'll close it. Do you guys notice that quiet? Even though there wasn't a lot of noise, it's quieter, right? Okay. I'm not making that up. And if you guys at home had noticed, there's that quieting that happens because the nervous system is actually like settling down and it's creating that descending effect where things calm. And so again, breathing in this space, it takes time. With my medical Qigong clients, I tell them to breathe in this space 3 times. First thing in the morning when you wake up, middle of the day, and then right before bed. And so then you're introducing that new pattern. So then ideally when stress happens, then stress. This is like Kiki stress. Okay, Kiki, stop it. Breathe. Because sometimes you have to stop whatever that stress response is, and you just have to stop it.
I did it this morning. I literally thought about you this morning because I was in an argument, and then I was going to work, and I was like, "Yeah, this day sucks already." And then I was like, "Shut up." All right, let's go.
Excellent.
Right. I literally did this morning. Can't even lie. Hands on the Bible.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like whatever that stress response is, just stopping it and remembering, and any kind of breathing and stopping is wonderful. But then if you want to get that grounded breath, practice this 3 times in a day. And ideally you can do it laying down, because if you found that it was hard for this part to relax, laying down, you'd be surprised how then the body's like, oh, I'm going to relax now. And then all of a sudden it's going to inhale and then exhale. But then that you don't want to correlate this kind of breathing with sleep, but it can help you to sleep. And so, because you don't want to be doing this if you created that pattern where it's like, okay, now it's bedtime, then you're going to be like, okay, now I'm going to shut down and all that kind of stuff. But it can be really good for helping with breathing. And so then you just breathe in that space.
That's why I'm like wanting to sit down and sleep.
Yeah. Well, because then you got out of that rest, you got out of that fight or flight. You got into that rest and digest. So, and then filling with the yellow gold color is very grounding because that's the color of the earth energy. So does anybody at home have any questions?
Carol or Ava?
Carol, Ava, anybody questions? You're good? Cool. All right. So then that's six directional breathing or called natural breathing. So if you ever watch a baby breathe,
Yeah.
they do that full torso breath and they breathe right in their bellies. And I'm a registered nurse. I get it. No ventilation and oxygenation happens in the lungs, but if you actually like, it's like, okay, if it happens here, then what's filling up down here? It's the chi. So you're bringing chi and blood to the urogenital area as well. Oh, you felt it?
Yeah, for sure. I can I feel a lot more relaxed. I just, like she said, almost like wanting to take a nap.
Yeah, it's like, I was gonna kind of feel a little
It's
drowsy.
very visible, like right now, like you just
Mellow.
yeah, mellow down.
Have you yawning?
One the thing too, so then with menses. So with menses, just be aware if you're breathing in the space that could increase blood flow. For anybody at home. So we're gonna moving on. So practice using this at your discretion, of course, with the lightheadedness. So then again, that overthinking center. Breathing in the lower Dantian benefits from getting you out of the overthinking center, the emotionally reactive center, and into that grounded space, because QiGong is all about our relationship with nature and how our place in nature is. And so it grounds us to the earth. And so then the yellow gold color is emphasizing that yellow gold color that we're gonna use later on. So then, so in traditional Chinese medicine, the idea of the five elements was developed thousands of years ago. There was the Taoist healers, there was the Taoist physicians, and the practitioners. They observed things in nature, and then so things like seasons, climate, and how the body responds to the environment. And so then from those observations, they noticed the patterns and created a system to understand our interaction with nature and the nature that's within us. And so this became the five element theory. And so then, as you can see, so we always start with wood because that's the spring as far as like generating cycle, because things go around. And then there's the fire for the heart. There's the earth element for the spleen. There's the metal for the lungs. And then there's the water for the kidneys. And so there's other philosophies that use wind. We use wood instead of wind. But wind is connected to the wood element. All right, cool. So we're gonna go into the good old liver. And so Marvel fans, anybody?
Hello.
The Incredible Hulk. He is a big angry liver. So the color is green. And so then we hold the acquired emotions of anger, rage, resentment, jealousy, and envy can be in here. It's our emotional temperament. And so going back to that being triggered really easy when we're driving, or just say, I don't know, gravity, you drop something, you ever get mad at gravity? I'm a lot less emotionally reactive or just reactive to gravity now because I'm a lot more grounded in my body. I don't bump into things like I used to because I'm actually very mindful of like the steps I take because I'm breathing here in this space. And so then again, because you can imagine if you're up here in your head and like you're thinking, okay, you're not aware of what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
If you're in this emotional reactive state, you probably still not very great. You're more in your body, but maybe have more of awareness, but still, are you paying attention to where you're walking around in your environment? And so then breathing into this space actually helps you to be in the present moment. Because it doesn't, granted the past, there's stuff to work on in the past. But all the woulda, coulda, shoulda, I have 5,000 things to do. Da, da, da. Or do you ever make up stories? I was like, well, if Sam says this to me, then I'm going to say this to her, and da, 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 and never get wrapped up in something that hasn't even happened.
Yes.
I have. And so then, and it could be with whoever relationships we have, but then think, okay, stop it. Get back in your breath. And get back in your body. Because then again, where's all that happening up here? And then it gets this feeling. And so you just
Always happens to me at night. When I'm like laying down,
Yeah.
thinking, and then I get like kind of anxiety, and I'm like, oh my god, I just wish I could shut this off.
And it takes time. It takes time to breathe in the space, and it takes time to get in that present moment.
Do you recommend at night trying that before bed?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna try that.
3 times. So morning, midday, and at night. So because you're establishing that pattern, and eventually when stress starts coming, you're like, oh yeah, stress, Qigong breathing, natural breathing, whatever, 6 directional breathing. Just don't call it Kiki breathing. You can this is your breathing, it's not my breathing. It's something that if you choose to go on this adventure, it's amazing. And so the liver, so the color is green and governs the sinews, the connective tissues. And so then the element is wood, like we talked about. So wood, if it's healthy, it bends, it moves really well. And if it's dehydrated or doesn't work very well, it gets all creaky and stiff. And so movement is good. any kind of movement. So the acquired emotions, told you about that, all the angry stuff. And then the virtue. So on the other side of the coin is compassion, kindness, or benevolence. And then also, so each solid organ has a connection to a hollow organ. And so the gallbladder, I mean, it's just right there. And it's on the right side under the rib cage. And so the heart, so that governs the vessels. And so its hollow organ is the small intestines. So these two are connected. And so then the color is red. And so when we talk about bringing red into the body, try not to bring in like a too bright, like a cherry red, because that's really young. It's very active. You know, we probably have enough of that going on in here. And so then you want something that's either really deep burgundy or like the cherry blossom pink. And anything in between it, but again, not too young, not too bright. The element is fire. And so then the acquired emotions are joy, because excessive joy does something to the chi. It can break it up. And so hysteria, excitement, agitation, and anxiety. So we can all store those in the heart. So you ever had anxiety? You just feel like it's stuck.
Daily.
Well, and so Qigong's great. I'm not going to go this route, but medical Qigong is really good because there's a way to purge that stuff, to break that stuckness. And I'm not criticizing talk therapy at all, but it is, you can only think your problems away. What about that stuck chi that's there? Healing tones. But I won't do anything. We'll talk about that more later. Because that's not the purpose of this. And then so virtue, peace, order, and tranquility. The heart is the kingdom or the king or the emperor empress of the body. And so it would be great to have like a tranquil, the ruler of the body, because all the emotions get filtered through the heart, all the emotions. So the heart has a big job. And so then also, so when the heart governs the blood and houses the spirit or the shen, so that's the vital substance of our thoughts in traditional Chinese medicine. But again, I went for that. It makes blood. It's also the health of the heart's also reflected in the face and the complexion. And so then balanced heart chi, bright and vibrant complexion. And then when it's imbalanced, you can have flushed or dull skin. And then stress affects the complexion. I mean, we wear stress on our face. Ever since I've done Qigong, I mean, one of my classmates said, Kiki, you've de-aged 10 years. I'm going to be 54 this year. So,
wow,
if that says anything. The lungs, our lovely lungs. Those guys took a hard hit in COVID. Couldn't tell anybody when a nurse to breathe deeply into those spaces. So the lungs, and so functions, it distributes the protective chi. It goes to the skin, it controls the pores, and so then it's called Wei Qi. That's our defensive chi. It protects us from pathogens. And so if the lungs are strong, it protects us from said pathogens. We all have an electromagnetic field that we emit. Quantum physics is figuring out what Taoists from thousands of years ago have already known. So it's really cool that this stuff's starting to come it's coming up to speed. And so then the color is white. The element is metal, again, that protectiveness. And so the acquired emotions that we hold in the lungs, can anybody guess? Anybody at home?
You said the emotions?
Yeah, acquired emotions. Because like the liver's all the angry stuff. The heart's the stuff that anxiety, agitation.
Fear.
What's that?
Fear.
No, that's kidneys.
Kidney.
The sad stuff. So grief, sorrow, sadness, shame, and guilt. We can hold those in the lungs. But then on the opposite coin, there is courage, there's integrity, there's righteousness. And so that righteous chi in the lungs helps to create that protectiveness. So healthy lungs, so you have you regulate the opening and closing of the pores, like I said, and then it controls the moisture and balance of the skin. So then if the lungs are healthy, then the skin's healthy because that's what it governs. And so then the pores regulate properly when things are working well. Again, that protective barrier is strong. And then when it's weak or dry, the skin looks dry. It can be sensitive to irritation. And then, like I have cold urticaria. It's a Wei Qi problem, allergy to cold. And then so allergies can be somewhat, it's not solely lungs because all these guys work together in an ecosystem. But that can be another thing with allergies as well. And then, so that's lungs. And then spleen, which is here on the left side, this little guy more kind of here in the back, is the earth element. And the color is yellow or that yellow golden color. And so what had you breathe that yellow gold here in the lower Dantian because it's very groundy. And so that helps you to settle. And so the acquired emotions, worry, self-doubt, self-doubt, obsession, regret, remorse. We can hold all those guys in the spleen. And so when the spleen's working properly, so what it does is its primary function, it governs transportation and transportation. It's linked to the stomach. And so it has to do with digestion also and helping to transport nutrients where they need to go. And so when the spleen is strong, skin appears firm, nourished, and healthy. And when it's weak, there can be a change in complexion, like dullness, but then also it helps to keep things in place. So edema, swelling. So if there's like some edema, sometimes it happens here in the leg sometimes, especially that's connected with heart stuff, but it's also a spleen issue when there's that swelling in the lower extremities. And then poor skin tone, because again, it helps to hold things together if the spleen's not operating properly. And so overthinking, that taxes the spleen. And so when you're eating dinner, I recommend trying this because I don't do this all the time. Just sitting and eating just by yourself, like not watching TV, not doing anything else, because that lets the spleen work in harmony. Because it's not like, okay, I'm gonna eat and then I'm gonna go drive to Costco and then I'm gonna try reading a book and smoke a cigarette and then I'm gonna drink a drink also. It's all these things we're trying to like that multitasking. It taxes the spleen. So especially with just eating, the spleen can conserve its energy and help to do and transport and transform things.
What do you think about eating too fast?
Yeah, because then I mean, think about what you're doing. Think where your mental state is when you're eating really, really fast.
Yeah.
Like hurry, 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 hurry! I gotta go, 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 go. Fight or flight! I gotta go. Fight or flight.
One of like the drawbacks that my wife said to me, you freaking eat like in 30 seconds. And
You eat like you're in the Air Force.
I was just raised that way. Like you were like, come on, let's go. We got stuff to do.
Yeah.
So like it stuck with me till now.
Yeah.
And like I try to sit back, and I've also seen research where it's like it could spike your blood sugar if you don't take your time. Like if you're eating, like I eat, like I can kill a meal in like 2 minutes.
Well, you have to do shoving all that food in, and then everything's trying to be digested at once. And that's the thing. You said it's a filter. You learned about that like this when how old were you? And it's still in effect now. So you might even have nothing to do, but you're still eating that way.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing just to remember. Oh, let me stop and breathe. And then also so that question: do I have to get up and go anywhere right now? And even saying it out loud. I got this. I say it out loud all the time. I am enough. Because verbally saying things out loud brings it here into this 3D world. And so then when you say things like, am I rushing? Why am I rushing? Whatever that is, or I can settle down and then see what it's like to eat slow. It might be a little weird.
It's weird. I try.
But then the more time that you take, the more it'll get more like, okay, wait, I really don't have to rush right now. And so it's all about getting that nervous system just to calm. Like that. It's a good question.
And that, you know, and another good thing as far as like, you know, we talk about eating, I work a puzzle on my iPad. And the reason I do that is because I have to use this hand to do that, and it makes me put the fork down. So I eat slower. And so it'll take me 30 minutes to get through dinner instead of 5 minutes, because I used to do the same thing. Because military, hurry up,
Oh, yeah.
chow, fill up your thing. You got 2 minutes.
Get out of there.
Get out.
So you purposely eat with that hand to slow yourself
Right,
down, so you're
yes.
not doing stuff on the computer.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
so I do a puzzle because it's just mindless,
Mhm.
you know, connecting pieces. So it takes me out of my head
Yeah.
and I can focus on my meal.
Mhm.
And usually if Tony's sitting there with me, a small conversation ensues as well, but
Mhm.
it's at least slows you down.
Right.
But it's like taking the fork and putting it down, biggest thing with eating.
Yeah, we can kill a plate.
Well, and also if you're just eating and you're taking an inhale, and then just eat. Oh, there's a low battery.
Low battery on what?
Low battery. Oh, your Mac.
Oh, on the Mac? Oh, I gotta plug it in.
Oh, you're Mac. We're gonna plug in the computer, guys. So give us a minute. Kidneys. Now we're gonna go to the kidneys, which are the water element. The color is blue, and so then the element is water. Yes. So the associated are the acquired emotions. So acquired emotions are the things that we garner and gather in this lifetime. So fear, shock, loneliness, insecurity. Those can all be stored back here in these lung, our liver, our kidneys. So then the virtue on the other side of the coin, wisdom, self-understanding, and then clear perspective, perseverance. Because in traditional Chinese medicine, our kidneys are our life batteries. You know, like the little Energizer bunny. You know, when he stops,
Yeah.
when they're gone, they're gone. So then you get all the qi, the original qis here in the kidneys, it distributes to the rest of the other organs, and then they get rebranded as lung qi or heart qi. But it originally was that original source qi, which came from the kidneys. So we're born with a finite amount of life force. And so I should have put that on the slides. So y'all just bear with me. So then we're born with this much life force. And then this is what getting older is that we use it up, use it up, use it up. It goes away, it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. And so then imagine there's like another circle around the life force. And just so now you start doing QiGong and you start building up here. This is the savings account because it's your life force. This is the checking account. And so the more Qigong you do and that you cultivate within your body, when you start taking from the body, you start taking from out here, and whatever's left of here, you conserve this. And so that's why it's important to cultivate that Qi in the body, because cultivating Qi in the body is great. Just eat a carrot. We eat, we drink stuff, that's Qi. But then doing other exercises like our place in nature, cultivating that earth Qi, and then the heaven Qi, and then just the breath. The breath is qi, just to cultivate that in the body and breathe in lower Dantian. So you build up your savings account, so then you stop using from the checking account. And so then that builds up the whole body's reserves. Kidneys, and so that can help these guys out, the kidneys, because then you're building up that reserve. And so then the kidneys are like, you guys, I don't have much left. And it's like, okay, don't worry. I got my Qigong practice. I'm going to start doing some more Qigong. And so then so in traditional Chinese medicines, the kidneys, yes, we already talked about that. So it's our foundational energy. And then strong kidney health means that you have good water metabolism. And so then that means it helps keep the skin moist and elastic. And so then to speaking in the skin regard, but it's keeping the body hydrated, drinking water. I had my fair share of coffee today. I need to catch up with water to keep it hydrated. And so then, so when we nurture the kidneys through rest, hydration, calming practices, qigong, and like qigong, supporting, we help with the water element. It supports the skin, stays hydrated and youthful. So in other words, the kidneys and the water element nourish the deeper, lasting vitality. Since we're talking about our skin and skincare, it's the skin. So here we are. So then we got the heart fire. So we have liver wood, heart fire, spleen earth, metal element, and then also the kidney, the waters. And so then by supporting health, we're going to do some breathing exercises, and we're going to either choose a color of the element or the virtue that you want to breathe into those spaces. But just pick one, because you just want to keep it easy. You're like, okay, color, virtue, color, virtue. No, just pick one. And so then we're going to build it up, because we're going to actually bring in those colors to help tonify, which is another word in Qigong, medical Qigong, to fill, to tonify, to fill that Qi within the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the liver, and then the kidneys, and then the lungs. And so, but the benefits of this are just calming the central nervous system. You're vitalizing the organs with this color or virtue. And so that, again, trying to bring that disharmony back into balance. All right, so then we're gonna, so there's this, so then, so we were in balance, out of balance, trying to get back to here. And so then, again, the wood, this is really cool. And so the wood feeds the fire. The liver wood feeds the heart fire, because then the wood can then burn the wood in turn to make the earth of the spleen. And if, this is everything when it's in harmony. And then the spleen then has in the deeper layers that metal that is within the earth. And then back in the day when dojos, they had metal swords, and they wake up in the morning and that dew had formed right on the metal. There was that connection with water, with metal and water. And so then that's why with the metal, if it works in harmony, it helps with building up the water. And then again, the water, oopsies. The water then feeds the wood of the tree, the wood of the liver, and then it's that cycle that just keeps on perpetuating. And so when things are in disharmony, so the kidneys are taxed. They're like in a low energy state. And the water can't feed the wood anymore. And the wood's like, I'm stuck, I'm stagnant, because I have all this stuck energy, all this stuck angry stuff. And so the wood is not very efficient in feeding the fire. And then it just keeps on going. Then the fire doesn't feed the earth and the spleen. And then the spleen isn't able to feed the metal of the lungs. And then the metal can't help feed the water of the kidneys. And so then you can see that things get blocked up, how then that disharmony happens. And it can happen physically, emotionally, mentally. And And so here we are with our skincare routine. So then the idea is we're gonna breathe in either a virtue or color, and then skincare routine, and then down to the wood, and then so it goes around. And so I'll lead us through the breathing exercise, and then so basically it's the heart fire we start out, or sorry, we're gonna start out with the wood. And then there's, no, just kidding. We're gonna start with the fire, and then there's the cleansing aspect of the skincare routine. Then we go into the earth element, and then there's the toner that is gonna be applied. And then there's also we go into the lungs, which is we inhale the color or the virtue, going into the serum application. And then we go into the water element where we will inhale the color blue or virtue, maybe wisdom or self-understanding. And then going into the wood element, and then eye cream. And then with the wood element can inhale the green, or it can be either compassion or kindness. And then going into the moisturizer to wrap it up. And so this is the routine, the new pattern for Flow and Glow. And so Fran and I came up with that. I think Fran did. But so this idea for this is like if you have a skincare routine already that you're doing at home, or if you're maybe looking into adopting one, it's also, this can take like 5 to 10 minutes. And you can even make it longer if you want, but then it's always that go, 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 go. And so then it's a thing of like taking that time to like, oh, let me do something to nourish myself. Especially if you're so busy giving to other people. If you have kids, you have family members, you have a busy business, whatever that is, it's time you're bringing that nourishment back to yourself. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start out with so I want you all to imagine if you're inhaling red, maybe no cherry red, but either some kind of red, like a deeper burgundy color. It can be that cherry blossom pink, something on that realm. But then also, or the virtue of peace, it can be order or tranquility. But then we can put our hands here in our heart. And then as we inhale, whichever, if you want, you can stand or sit if you guys like to. And then with your hands on your heart, I just want you to inhale and imagine you're breathing in that color or the virtue. And then a nice exhale. And when you're breathing in, you're filling the heart, the vessels, all of the structures of the heart. And breathing in, the emotions of the heart, and then exhaling. And again, breathing in that virtue or that color with a nice inhale to fill and tonify the heart. And then exhale. Do 2 more breaths. And then 1 more. And then exhale. And then you can go into the skincare routine of
Fran. So I have a question to ask everybody first. So those of you that are joining us on Zoom, I want you to drop it in the chat. I want to know, what are you currently doing for your skincare routine? So, I mean, if you're using soap and water, write down soap and water. If you are using a skincare routine, I'd love to know, are you using more than 1 or 2 products? Are you using 5 or 6? I'm a skincare enthusiast, so I'm going to tell you, I use about 12 products on my face morning and night. So yeah, I'm a little bit extra. So, and the reason that I do that isn't because that's what I do for a living, but it's because I see results from what I'm doing. And I'm actually doing K-beauty skincare now, to where I'm actually drinking in lots of moisture into my skin, lots of hydration. So you talked about our skin elements there, right? As far as like when we're doing the QiGong and how it relates to our skin. So your cleanser and your moisturizer are your 2 most critical things in skincare. If you're not cleansing, if you're not cleaning your face, you've got dirt and stuff that's been floating around, you sleep on it, it goes back into your skin, it causes skin problems. So we're going to try and avoid those, right? So Jeannie, can you tell me, what does your skincare routine look like on a daily basis? Water. So Jeannie is like the minimalist girl, okay? I want to teach Jeannie how to be a little bit more. So Jeannie's a minimalist girl, which is fine. A lot of people think, oh, I could just splash water on my face and that's going to be enough. but all it does is it takes off that little bit of surface dirt. It doesn't get deep into your pores. And that's what happens is that dirt and stuff gets trapped in our pores and our skin gets clogged up and it becomes oily. You'll see acne bumps and pimples will appear because the pores are clogged. So cleaning all that dirt off, and especially because we're on donkeys all the time, girlfriend, you should be at least using a cleanser. And dogs too, right? You should be at least using a cleanser. By the way, everybody, this is Jeannie. She's with the Human Animal Connection. She's who we're supporting with my partner education series. So all the money that we're raising is going to help support the donkeys and the dogs that she helps to bring into people's lives to help them feel better as well. So I love
Thank you
we're
all.
doing all this wellness
Thank you,
stuff,
Fran.
right? Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, so Domingo, what are you currently using to wash your face?
I use a acne face wash and I use soap and water.
So he's using an acne face wash and soap and water. So I'll explain too when when I'm going through all of the steps of skincare routine, why that can be bad and why it can be good. Okay. And then did somebody put something in the chat there, Kiki?
Yeah, so Ava said she uses tallow, honey, and coconut oil.
Tallow, honey, and coconut oil. Okay. So she's very naturalist is what I would relate that to. And then
Carol says I use Mary Kay cleanser, lime reducer, hyaluronic acid, and moisturizer.
okay,
And
awesome.
then Eugene Carter said I water and soap.
The water soap. Oh gosh, I got a lot of soapy people here. This is really kind of good. And then Kiki, what are you currently using?
When I'm in the shower, I use your Mary Kay men's facial cleanser, and then I don't wash my face before that.
Okay, I'm glad that he's talking about that because you talk about doing this 3 times a day. Well, guess what? You don't have to wash your face 3 times a day. Twice a day is enough. So if we were to start off with fire and do that breathing into the heart space while we're cleansing. And the thing is that you can do that and they say to cleanse your face for 90 seconds for it to be effectively clean. So if you do that 3 breaths in and out, that's about 90 seconds,
Yeah.
right? So you do that and then you can actually continue breathing into that space if that's what you need to. I like to use a balancing toner on my skin just because it helps bring back the pH in my skin when I use a balancing toner. Why is pH important? Well, it's important because we've just stripped all of our pH away when we washed our face. So even if we're using just water, we're using an acne cleanser, we're using a men's daily facial wash, a time-wise cleanser, soap and water, we've stripped away the pH in our skin. And so our skin is out of balance. And so a balancing toner actually helps bring the skin back into balance so that this way it can absorb the next step in that cycle. And so then we're talking about going into number 2 here,
So then with
which is
the spleen, and so
the
then
spleen.
if you guys want, then the spleen, so again, it's here on the left side, and so left side rib cage. So if you imagine as you're breathing in either that yellow golden light, and this is all like a light imagination. And even if you don't see the color, it's the intention. But if you can get some color cards, that helps to enrich it helps to make the meditation process even a lot more richer.
Share for the first one.
Oh, cool. This is a good color.
The color association psychology.
Mine started off really dark red and went to pink by the time we were done,
Oh, cool.
which was strange.
Just whatever you needed then.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but I love this because, okay, so you put your toner on and which dries pretty quickly, but if you take the moment just to breathe into the space, because it's about incorporating it into something you do daily, okay? It's not adding a lot of extra things, but it's incorporating it. And you talk about having something where you can visualize. We have this form and I'll drop it in the chat later. And I'll also send it out to everybody that's registered. So you'll have this diagram you can print out and you can put on your bathroom mirror and just remind you of each one of those steps as well. So how do we breathe into our spleen?
So then you want to either imagine you're breathing in that yellow golden color or the virtue of trust, acceptance, truthfulness, and just pick one. So as you inhale, take a nice inhale where your hands are and imagine you're breathing one of those and then exhale. And again, breathing in the color or the virtue can be acceptance, trust, or truthfulness, or acceptance. And again, breathing in, filling with that color or virtue. And 2 more breaths. Uno más. Filling, getting brighter and brighter with that color or the virtue. And then exhale. And then the next one, so then serum would be.
Yep, so serums. So Carol said that she uses hyaluronic acid, so, which is a really good, and the C plus resveratrol line reducer, both Mary Kay products. The great thing about serums is that if you want something specific to happen in your skin, so for instance, she wants to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. C plus resveratrol is great for that. I know Sergio, who's probably gonna be on watching later, he uses our brightener, our ferulic acid plus niacinamide brightener, because he wants his skin to be brighter. One of the things I've noticed since I started incorporating that every single day into my skincare routine, my face is getting lighter. Yes, it's like, it's actually, God bless you, it's actually lightening my skin a little bit. Bless you again.
Thank you.
And so it has that. The hyaluronic acid is a great serum because it's actually helping your skin drink moisture in from the air. So it takes 1,000 times its weight in moisture that's just floating around in the air and attracts it to your skin. So your skin's drawing in moisture. If you ever notice that your face is a little bit maybe oily or too shiny looking, it's because of lack of hydration. So oily skin is indicative of lack of hydration. So you might even notice that too, Eugene, when you don't have that element going in of no moisture, because soap tends to strip away all the natural oils and the moisture in our skin. So that can potentially cause problems later on down the road. And then Ava, she uses tallow, honey, and coconut oil. And Ava, I'd love to know why you chose to go that route with a skincare routine, just because I'm curious. I'm always curious when people use things that I'm not super familiar with. I know a lot of people are like using coconut oil nowadays because it has that natural oil to the skin. And what happens is it is a humectant as well. So it draws the moisture to the skin without leaving the face feeling really, really oily. So your serums, you definitely want your serums to go on and you want them to stay on for a good 30 to 45 seconds. So that's where that breath work again with going into our third inhale with courage. I love we're doing serums and courage. So, so Carol, since you use those two interchange, you use them the same day, I'm assuming. You use the C plus resveratrol line reducer and then follow it up right with the hyaluronic acid. And you could do that. They don't have to dry most serums for the skin to fully absorb, but you definitely want them after you've applied them to finish drying as well. So let's take us into that next.
So we can go put our hands in our lungs, and so either if this is easier, if you want to put them crossed as well, whichever. But as you inhale, imagining that you're inhaling white, or the virtue of courage or integrity. It's a nice inhale. Just imagine the lungs, all those beautiful little alveoli, the air sacs are filling, the branches of the heart, the lungs are filling with that virtue or the color with each inhale, and then exhale. Again, breathing in, the lungs are getting brighter and brighter, fuller and fuller with the virtue or that white color of light. And then exhale. You get a few more breaths, just breathing in. One more big breath, filling and tonifying with the inhale. And then exhale. Thanks, you guys. And then we move on to eye cream.
Yes, eye cream. And then that's gonna be kidneys, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, I always say eyes are the windows to your soul, but why do you think, using an eye cream is important, Domingo?
Why? To minimize like me, I'm like probably the youngest member of the group and I have like bags already and I'm like, I'm developing some wrinkles right here and I'm in my twenties. I think to minimize that, moisturize them and alleviate some of that.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned that about you're in your twenties, you're already starting to see that. That's when most people start seeing those fine lines and wrinkles creeping in. They start seeing the skin starting to sag. Why do you think that is? It's because we're losing collagen. We start losing 1% of collagen every year once we hit like 25. And so there's a couple of ways you can boost collagen. One is anti-aging supplements in your skincare routine that help boost collagen. Another is internally ingesting collagen. So like Cecilia with Melaleuca, for instance, they have a collagen supplement you can drink daily that helps bring the collagen into your body, which then your skin absorbs eventually, because all your organs need the collagen, because it literally is a breakdown of the things that support the cells in our body. That's what collagen is. It kind of interlocks everything. So if you notice, like my little, I'm gonna point it out, the little chicken neck here. Yeah, I lost weight and guess what? All that fat went away and I had no collagen here anymore. So I'm like, everything I can to get this to lift back up, right? So those are some of the things that we see as we age that we want to reverse. Well, why bother waiting until you're 60 to start working on it? Start working on it in your 20s and 30s. So that this way you're ahead of the curve when you're my age. So using an eye cream, you always want to use ring fingers only when doing anything around the eyes. And I've got a bum finger here, so I'm gonna just do like my pinky, but you want to just pat on the bone. So if you're just patting on the orbital bone when you're applying an eye cream, and that means the orbital bone is this bone that goes all the way around the eye socket. And it doesn't have to be like super close to your eyelashes in order to actually apply the eye cream. You want the eye cream to fully absorb. I like using a lot more eye cream nowadays because I need extra hydration there because I've got a lot more fun lines and wrinkles than I used to have. Because I smile way too much.
Oh, that's not
It isn't, but it's like, oh my gosh, let's get rid. Can we get, oh, it was funny because when I did Donkey Day in December, I did a video of myself and I'm like, oh, I need to stop smiling when I'm on videos. Because you can see all my little wrinkles, but it's okay. It's like they show where happiness and life has been, right? But I do like to extra hydration there. And what I do is I layer my eye cream on a little thicker. Because guess what the body does? It sucks in what it needs. And then after I've done my next step in my routine or my next qigong element, now, by the time I'm done with that, guess what? I don't see that extra eye cream there because my body's already absorbed it. Because it's how much it needs. It needs extra hydration. The skin around our eyes is like tissue paper. And so you want that extra hydration so that it helps keep that at bay. If you know somebody who has dark circles under their eyes, a lot of it is because of lack of hydration in the eye area. 90% of it is from lack of hydration. So it really just your eyes start to look sunk in and they're not. It's just there's no moisture there.
You might have just a small bottle of water with you as well.
Yeah.
Hydrate that yin, the water, for the water element in the kidneys. And so then it's up to you, because kidneys are back here. If there's any achy shoulders and things like that, you can put your hands here in front. And so then we're identifying and putting our intention on our kidneys. And so as we inhale, we're breathing in that blue light. It can be a light blue or a deep blue, or it can be a virtue of self-understanding, clear perspective, perseverance, or wisdom. But just pick one as you inhale, breathing into both of those kidneys, and then exhaling. And then as you inhale, you're filling those kidneys up as they're getting fuller and fuller and brighter with each inhale. And then exhale. And then breathing in again. And then exhale. We'll do a few more breaths. Breathing into the kidneys. And then exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. 2 more breaths. Breathing in, filling more and more and more. And then exhale. Uno más. One more time. And exhale. And then we move into the moisturizer.
What did Ava say? Should Ava drop something in the chat?
So Ava said the tallow honey blend keeps the skin on my face moisturized long term. It has made a significant difference in the dry skin on my forehead. The skin on my face seems to stay supple and hydrated longer now, which is huge for living in Arizona. Yes. I use the coconut oil on the whole body after a shower to hold in the moisture. It keeps my skin from drying out too much post shower.
Nice, very nice, very good. And then, oh, there was something that she said in the beginning there that made me think of a question, no, in the beginning of that. Statement.
Gotcha.
Um,
The tallow honey blend keeps the skin face moisture.
yeah, oh, so dry desert. Yeah, so now we're gonna go into moisturizer. So yeah, you talk about dry desert. Also, Ava, you mentioned that you have dryness on your face. I'm curious to know if you have eczema or psoriasis at all. So if you could drop that in the chat for me, I can talk about those a little bit, because those are definitely skin conditions that I see frequently here in the desert. I probably see it more here in Arizona than I ever saw it in California. In California, I would occasionally see somebody with eczema or psoriasis, but it was very rare because California being really close to the ocean, there's a lot of moisture. So there's not a lot of dryness there unless you get into the desert communities. But here in Arizona, especially because 365 days a year, we pretty much have sunshine all year long. And we might have like a cloudburst or two and then it's gone. So that moisture doesn't stick around very long. So hydrating our skin is super important, especially here in the desert. Moisturizing from head to toe is really good because you start seeing the dry patches on your elbows, your legs, because the legs are the last thing to get any moisture at all, because of the way our body's blood flow goes. You really, really, really need a moisturizer. And we're in the desert. We're in Arizona. We need sunscreen. And I can't talk highly enough about using a daily SPF. And the reason for that is because there's the aging and the burning rays of the sun. The UV rays are getting to be actually harsher today than they were when I was a kid. So, 50 years ago, we didn't worry about those kind of things, but we're seeing more evidence of skin cancer today because people weren't using sunscreen. Also, aging comes from the aging and the burning rays of the sun. All of the Mary Kay sunscreens are broad spectrum sunscreens, which means it protects against both aging and burning rays. But one of the cool things is that it also helps protect against UV light. So right now I've got this lovely ring light going on, right? And it's throwing out some UV light, ultraviolet light that we can't see. Same thing with the overhead lights, your computer screens, your cell phones. So if you're on all of those devices, it'll actually make your face age faster. And, Jeannie will probably remember, because I talked about this at my last education series, how during COVID, I'm sitting in front of my computer all the time. Well, I wasn't putting sunscreen on because I wasn't going outside. Realized I needed to be wearing sunscreen even in front of my computer, because one of my really good friends said, "Your face is looking a little bit older than it used to, Fran." Oh, why is that? What are you doing to your skin? And I'm like, wasn't using my sunscreen in the house because I didn't need. Why do we need sunscreen? They're like, oh, your screen is aging your face, because I was spending 12 hours a day in front of my computer trying to learn the technology so I could be better at my job today with all the tech stuff. So moisturizing morning and night, very important. So again, basics of skincare are cleansing and moisturizing, then sunscreen. Those are the 3 key things you should be doing all the time. The other things, the serums and the eye creams, are things you can incorporate in as needed. There's some people that they're like, I'm good with just a cleanser and a moisturizer. I don't want sunscreen. Okay, that's totally fine. Or maybe they want something more of a natural sunscreen, like a zinc oxide instead of a chemical-based sunscreen. But those are just some things that we can look at and customize skincare for you specifically. And then what else did Ada say there?
Said I've had eczema since I was a child. It used to be severe on my legs, feet, and hands, causing skin to peel and bleed frequently. I used to have to coat my feet and hands in Eucerin and cover them with socks before going to sleep at night.
Yeah. So I find that a lot. One of the things that you might want to look into, Ava, is exfoliating. Because what happens with eczema especially is that it's a buildup of dead skin cells. And so when you have that dry patch happening, it's usually because of excess skin cells that are just clumped together. And so the best thing you can do is exfoliate. So, and light exfoliations, it doesn't need to be harsh. I have one of my customers recently came to one of my appointments and she was like, I cannot believe how much better my forehead looked after I did the microdermabrasion, because she got rid of all those dead skin cells that was on there. She's been on the product for 2 weeks and her eczema is gone. So that's been one of the things that's been really, really helpful with her specific skin issue. So I could just tell based on her, what she said from 19 years of experience, knowing that she probably had eczema. Yeah, eczema and psoriasis are very similar.
What is I have something on my arms that's been there forever. Keratosis? It starts with a K. Keratosis or something like that, but do that like that forever.
I will have to take a picture of that and I can do some research on that and see what's the best
Never
way to
done anything
resolve
for
it.
it. Feel like that's something. Oof.
Yeah, and some of it could just be a hereditary skin condition too, that you're just gonna have all your life. You probably had it when you were born.
I just never done anything about
And
it.
yeah, and there may not be anything you can do about it, but I'll, when we're done, well, let's talk about that a little more and I can see if there's any suggestions I can give you to help, because if y'all had noticed, my number one thing is actually educating. I always wanted to be a teacher, so yay, I get to do that now. And then I get to have people, try Mary Kay products and see if that's the best skincare for their needs as well.
It's only on my arms.
It's only on your arms. That's interesting. Very cool. Okay, so now we're gonna breathe into our wood.
So the liver. All of our incredible hulks that we have. It's on the right side, so yeah. So it's on the right side under the rib cage, y'all. And so if you want to inhale, breathing in, either breathing in green, any kind of color of green, or if you want to breathe in compassion, benevolence, or kindness, but just pick one. As you inhale, you're picking the color of light or one of those virtues of compassion, benevolence, or kindness. And then exhale. And just imagine that the liver is just filling and getting fuller and fuller with each inhale. And then exhale. A few more breaths, breathing in. And breathing out. Inhaling again. And exhale. One more big breath as you breathe in. And then exhale. And then our hands will come down to our navel as we breathe in. And then again, we'll do grounding breath as we inhale. And the hands open, that lower dantian's filling with either the breath or that yellow golden light. And then exhale as we pack the chi in, we close it. Do a few breaths here, inhaling. And then exhale. And again, allowing the lungs to fill first, if that's what happens, to then the belly filling with the inhale. And then exhale, a couple more, breathing in. And then exhale, and do one more breath. Breathing in as it expands in all 6 directions with the inhale. And then exhale. Hand over hand, closing the lower dantian.
Awesome. How's everybody feeling so far?
Okay.
Good?
I normally have like, what do we call them? Like an anxiety, like what do we do this?
Yeah.
Oh, the leg.
I haven't done it this whole time I've been.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hey.
I feel like really, what's the word, zen?
Yeah, very zen.
More
Very
relaxed.
qigong, very qigong, right?
Working Kiki.
Sweet. Well, and like I said, just sometimes stopping and doing any kind of breathing is beneficial. But if you want that grounded breath, it takes time to work and get the breath down here. But it'll change your life.
Even like cognitive, like there's nothing going on right now. I'm just focused on what you're saying.
Nice.
Seriously.
I love it. So yo, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And your honesty and your willingness to share these parts of you with us. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And then just remember also with breathing here, the caveats, precautions and contraindications, early pregnancy, no. And then low blood pressure, if you need to practice this sitting down, if you have low blood pressure, do that. And if you even need to practice it laying down, if lightheadedness just is a thing that keeps happening, you can reach out to me and we can talk about stuff. But yeah, and then your body might just need to acclimate to it. But if it's getting to the point where if that dizziness is happening and you're feeling like you're gonna pass out, then don't do it and just reach out to me.
So for best results, like you said stand up, feet straight, planted, bend in the knee, backbone. Like
And
you said,
then the tailbone, you just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're sitting on a stool.
And then that's for like best results.
Yeah, because then you're opening this space when you're sitting on that stool. Like you're not like old man butting it, but you like you're just the tailbone's just like boom.
Almost like your body going to
Like that
squat.
old man
Yeah.
body good.
So you're just sitting here. You don't need to be crunched down so much. It's like, but then when you put the tailbone down, the knees want to go down, so you might need to readjust and just a slight break in the knees. And so then you get more breath here.
You know, it's actually like almost cues for like powerlifting.
Oh,
So for lifting like heavy
Cool.
weight, you like that's literally most of like the cues.
cool.
And then you brace and then lift the weight up.
Also, it's good that's something familiar then, because then it'll just
Yeah, like
All
for
in
me, I
space.
think that's why it's working so well because I'm used to that already.
yeah.
Because if you don't breathe like that when you're lifting heavy weight, it can go south.
Well, cool. Then you're already ahead of the game then with creating. If you want to decide to practice in this space.
I think I am
Cool.
because it feels really good.
Yeah.
I am like totally like this. Woo, mellowed out.
So just one quick question, what do we do with referrals again for today?
Well, we'll talk about that at the
Yeah.
end when we're done, okay? Because I want to let the people that are online go, because we're just a teeny bit over, I believe. Yeah, we're just a little bit past.
What time it is?
And then, yeah, and then Ava said, thank you for the advice. I definitely need to include exfoliation to my skincare routine. Would this include dry brushing? So dry brushing, Ava, is literally just gonna get that top layer. It's not gonna get the other layers that are ready to slough off. So a deeper exfoliation would actually go a little bit deeper to get the 1 to 2 layers deep. And sometimes 3 layers deep, just depending on what type of exfoliant you use. And that's something I can talk to you about as well. And then I like how you have the zinc oxide sunscreen, but it makes your skin bright white. My suggestion with that is make sure you're using a moisturizer first, then put your zinc oxide sunscreen on. And usually it will, if it's not fully absorbing in your skin, your face is still white, then talk to me, because our mineral sunscreen, after about 30 seconds, it disappears and you don't see that white on your face anymore. So I can talk to you about that. And thank you, Carol, for loving the Mary Kay sunscreen. Yes, because all of our sunscreens are really lightweight. They're not really heavy at all.
Does it
So
apply multiple times a day or one?
it depends. So sunscreen is very dependent on whether or not you're out in the sun for long periods of time.
So for someone like me, like in the trades, like more like,
Then yeah, you may need to reapply a little bit more frequently
yeah.
if you're out in direct sunlight, because. Okay, so yay, I get to educate about sunscreen. This is like my favorite thing. So, SPF number, does anybody know what the SPF number really means?
I do not, but doesn't like the higher number mean that it protects more?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So I've been misled.
It creates a barrier to protect the skin. Like, I don't know.
So if you think, okay, I'm gonna do easy math, because most of our sunscreens are an SPF of 30. We do have one that's an SPF of 50. So if you were out in the sun with nothing on, how long would it take before your skin starts to pink up?
Me personally,
You personally?
I feel like not anymore. When I was a young lad, I feel like I used it a lot faster, but I feel like I don't know if I've developed a tolerance or what, but I don't like right now all day I was outside and I don't get red anymore. Like I get sweaty, but not red.
Not red. How about you, Jeannie? When do you, how long does it take for your skin to pink up when you're in the sun?
I don't think I pink up.
You
My
don't
wife
think you
does
pink up?
though, like
Yeah.
instant.
Instantly, so like
Like-
5 minutes and she,
Oh, woo.
yeah,
She goes outside in a summer day, you're talking a minute. Her
Yeah.
cheeks get rosy.
so,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say 10 minutes, cause that's the average for most people.
Yeah.
And it makes easy math. So if you take the SPF number
Yeah.
and multiply it times 10, that's the effectiveness of the SPF, so it's 300 minutes,
Okay.
which is 5 hours.
Okay.
So if you were to use an SPF of 50, and then that's 500 minutes, that's pretty much all day.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's about 8 hours. So
I
it
like
just,
that.
right? And it just depends too, but if you're sweating a lot too,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to reapply because your sweat is
I know.
making it come off. That's where I have people that, they put it on, they're like, oh, my sunscreen's burning my eyes. Yeah, well, one of the things you wanna do too is you wanna put it on inside and let it fully absorb and dry on your skin before going outside.
Yeah, she gets on me all the time because haven't owned a sunscreen bottle in years. And I think my skin feels pale. Like I got like a hint of red. I don't know if you can see that, but it always looks like that.
Right?
You see how it kind of looks
Well,
red?
and here, I'm gonna show you, this is what you have to
Kinda
look
look
forward to.
red.
This is what you have to look forward to if you don't do anything about it.
You know, if I don't apply sunscreen?
Yeah, see all the little white dots?
Mhm.
That's sun damage
Wow. Okay.
over time.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
I've seen
so
that
that's-
on people's faces that
Yeah.
work outside.
yeah, the vitiligo will happen because melanin stops being
Bleeding.
produced. And so it breaks down that protectant that our skin naturally has, but
Yeah.
as we've evolved as human beings, we don't have that protection anymore. And so we need that extra layer of
Layer.
protection to our skin as
That
well.
makes sense because everything here gets killed.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody, for being on. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Carol and Eugene and Ava, for jumping on Zoom. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you drop a comment in below what you learned. And then please check out the link to the Human Animal Connection so that you can make that $20 donation to help support the donkeys and the doggies. So we thank you very, very much for being here today.
Thank you, Ava. Yeah, thanks you, Eugene and Carol. And one more thing, you guys, I'm gonna put a QR code in, but the first one that signs up gets a $50 off a medical QiGong session, which is individualized session. It's considered like an energetic medicine. You're laying on a table, and then it's all for bringing balance back into the body. And then the next two will win a free QiGong for Health class, which I teach at the Yoga Connection on Fridays from 4 p.m. to 5:15.
Is that what Sarah?
No, she has her own spot.
Oh.
And so here's the
And
QR
there's a
code for the
deep
free
charcoal
consultation.
mask for you to try at home.
And then this is for my website. Oh, yeah.
And then for anybody who books an appointment with me, you're gonna get a text message from me afterwards. And I will follow up with you. You're welcome to book a free Mary Kay facial appointment with me. It's a DIY, so instructional. So I teach you about how to take care of your skin. Also using Mary Kay products. I also give a $25 bundle gift certificate on any bundle you purchase at your appointment. So hopefully a few of you will take me up on that offer as well. So I'm glad you remembered to do that. All right, well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Yeah, I like. I've been using a body cream or a facial cream for the last week because
Can you log it out?
Log this out. Okay. Okay, bye, guys. Take care.
vitamin.
Bye,
Bye,
Carol.
Later, I gotta feed.
Yeah, and then send me the QR